This is my living eulogy as of April 2024. I want to do all of the positive things in my lifetime so that future generations will understand who Bob Allen really was. What I remember most about my early childhood years was right after school was finished the end of June. We went up to a bungalow colony in the Catskill Mountains, and I just swam in the pool, in the lake, played baseball, learned all of the things that had to be learned at that time. And it was great memories. The other memories was living in a one-bedroom apartment on Newport Street in Brownsville, Brooklyn. As my brother was born, the two of us had the bedroom, and my parents got a sleeping sofa in the living room, which they opened every night, and that was their bedroom. It really was something different. And then in 1950, the family took a trip rather than going to the Catskill Mountains. My youngest brother was just 6 months old, and we flew on a jet plane down to Grandma Sarah, I'm sorry, Grandma Rachel and Aunt Evelyn in Miami Beach, Florida. That was some summer trip. Then what I remember most is the eighth grade. We moved from Newport Street to East 91st Street. We shared a house, two family house with my Aunt Ida and Uncle Max and my cousins Barbara and Dorothy. And they lived upstairs, we lived downstairs, and we had a basement. Okay, and I had a choice between continuing and graduating in the eighth grade and then going to Brooklyn Tech or going to Winthrop Junior High School, which was seventh, eighth, and ninth grade. And then I would be going to the new school, Winthrop Junior High School. Okay. But going to Brooklyn Tech was quite an unbelievable experience. Really, really was. I remember walking in the first time and seeing two bowling alleys in the gym. This was before the automatic pin spotters, got developed and you had to put them up all the pins by hand. I became a member of the bowling team, and in my junior and senior year, we won the city championship, the PSL number one team in the city. I also remember in my junior year meeting my wife, Elaine, and we've been married for 61 years, going on 62, and it was really something wonderful. After graduation from Brooklyn Tech, I started college at Brooklyn College one year and then transferred to Pratt Institute while working in the Catskills during the summer months. I still remember in 1961, Elaine's grandpa Ben was in the hospital, and she asked me if I would come down and talk to him. And he basically looked at the two of us and he said, the two of you should get married. And I said, I'm still having one more year left in college, Grandpa. And he said, then you'll get married and live downstairs where your mother-in-law and father-in-law have a house. And I said, no, that can't work out. And he said, I know a cousin of mine that owns an apartment right near Brooklyn College. Let me see what I can do. And we walked out of there after his phone call, and he committed to paying for that apartment until I graduated from Pratt Institute. Unbelievable. While I was at Pratt, I still remember playing baseball, and I started a bowling team at Pratt Institute. That left me with really an unbelievable experience because There was the Association of College Unions, the National Intercollegiate Bowling Tournament in Rhode Island in February of 1962. The reason we decided to go up there, that the athletic director at the University of Rhode Island was the athletic director at Pratt Institute when I was playing baseball before I started the bowling team. Well, we went up there and I was really good enough to come in first place in both the singles with a 634 and with the all events at 1814. That all events first place got me as the captain of the bowling team that was going to St. Louis to basically bowl in the national championships. And it was quite an experience. I didn't do too well in St. Louis, so I'm not going to mention that. My dad made me finish college versus joining the Professional Bowlers Association. I had some sponsors ready to sponsor me in the PBA, but we were getting married and I had to do my senior year in college, and that is what I did and received my chemical bachelor of chemical engineering in 1963. I accepted a job offer from Mobil Oil Company in their Paulsboro, New Jersey refinery. Wonderful working conditions. Also living. I played golf every Saturday and I bowled 2 nights a week in 2 different leagues. We did have our first daughter in June of 1964, and that in itself was quite an experience. I still remember my mother-in-law coming down and walking into the hospital in Woodbury, New Jersey, and saying, "Bob, how could you have taken my daughter to a place like this?" It was just 97 degrees and it was hot as anything. But we were able to get our first house in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and move in there in 1965. And my second daughter, Robin, was born in 1967. I was offered a promotion by Mobil to New York headquarters and became the first computer applications manager. I traveled to Mobil refineries throughout the United States, teaching engineers how to send their cards in so they can do linear programming on the questions that everybody was asking. However, I went from a 15-minute drive to the refinery to a 1.5 hour trip by the Long Island Railroad. We lived in Smithtown, Long Island, and it was something. In 1971, a Time magazine article was sent to me that had a thing in there that was very annoying to me. It had that Mobil ships chandlers were instructed not to take on any goods of Israeli origin. Being Jewish, I went down to the chairman of the board on the third floor, Rolly Warner Jr., and he asked me, his secretary asked me, he can't see me, but Herman Schmertz will be able to discuss with me. I was there for an hour with him telling me that the shareholder was the most important thing, even more important than the employee. For that main reason, I decided to become a shareholder. I moved my family to California and started a company called Polyphase Products. It was a manufacturing business that took two chemicals, mixed them together, and put them into a rubber mold at which we put a press over them. And it came out looking just like wood. So we started something, and it was right during the van conversion business in California. And those were the most exciting years in the 70s. The SEMA show, Specialty Equipment Manufacturers Show, moved to Las Vegas from Orange County. I joined Zantec and Herb Seymour as their vice president of sales, and then in 1979, the vice president of Chrysler Motors thanks all of us manufacturers for showing them the vehicle of the future, the SUV. With that, in the 1980s, I became an importer from Taiwan. We built a timber factory to supply entertainment center manufacturers in the US with doors for their cabinets and covers for their roll top desks. It was really something good, and we started looking at China on visits to Hong Kong. And I still remember the times that I got to the Royal Hong Kong Country Club and played golf on Saturdays. At the height of our business, Elaine and I decided to remodel our house in Tarzana. Money was flowing, and Bonnie and Kevin were getting married in 1989. We had a big wedding affair in Westlake, California, and Kevin became the contractor for the remodel of our house. It all came down with the business world crumbling in 1989, and Elaine and I were forced into bankruptcy in the early 90s. We decided to look at the golf industry and found this thing called electronic caddy. It was a robot that took the golf clubs on the cart, and you can control it from your hand. After two bankruptcies, we decided to make it ourselves and welcome the PK2. Here is that video.
Well, Chuck Muncie, remember that name? Made a name for himself in pro football as a Pro Bowl running back in the NFL. Well, today he's making a name by helping kids in a high tech sort of way. Welcome to Golf in the 90s, robotic golf at Rancho Park Municipal Courts. This battery operated mini cart carries two bags, allowing golfers to play the game as it was first intended by walking and
5 wood 4 iron will be a good club, right? Aim it right at the card, you'll have like a little pitch.
with the aid of a human caddy. It's a program developed by these two men, Muncie, whose youth foundation now has new means for summer jobs, and Bob Allen, whose company developed the PK2 robotic caddy.
And what we're looking for is people to come out and support the program. Come out here and see what the kids are doing. Come out, play a little bit of golf, use one of the caddies, and get one of the kids out here and enjoy yourself and get a chance to meet a kid that's trying to do the right thing in life. Some of the people who are coming up after using a caddy have just had tremendous positive words for the entire program. It's given us the encouragement to go on.
Aura Systems, an Israeli company, became the investor in Golf Group of America, the manufacturer of the PK2. However, the dot-com fiasco in 1998 caused Aura to cease funding us. And working with the Ventura County Star at that time, I learned about auction software, and it came into play very close in the early 2000s. I became one of the top 200 sellers on eBay, selling used golf balls from 2002 to 2005. When on a trip up to Northern California for a summit conference with other sellers, I was told, "Thank you for showing us the way. My wife could now handle this." And all of a sudden, I was not a seller of golf balls anymore. But I became one of the largest sellers, the top seller, in fact, of Marilyn Merlot and Norma Jean wines on eBay. And I started a consignment program for other collectors that didn't have a license to sell. This lasted very, very good until the 2008 recession. Money was not available for collectibles at that time. And as a visionary, I saw streaming as the future. We developed a contract with Oaks Christian High School in 2008 to live stream their football season. On the sidelines, that first game was Joe Montana, Wayne Gretzky, and Will Smith. It was truly, truly unbelievable. We started with a new company called Ustream, and it was really something well that worked out together. However, after seeing a lack of profitability as a contractor, we joined forces with the Ventura County Office of Education and the new Career Education Center in Camarillo in 2014 to start a sports broadcasting academy for credit at the high schools. We are now in the process of working with the Brent Shapiro Foundation to develop hyperlocal sports reporting at the high school level. We are also working with the Inglewood School District for Sports Broadcasting Academy in conjunction with the NFL. We're developing somewhat new concepts for seniors 55 and older that came about after the 2020 pandemic, when funeral directors were limited to only 5 people at a funeral service, and we started live streaming. I noticed very carefully that at the end, the first thing that the funeral director asked the family when a deceased came to them, the family of the deceased, was, "Can you bring us pictures so we can make a video and show it at the end of the ceremony?" Well, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, what would a video be worth? And that is the development of our new concept for seniors called My Living Eulogy. It is creating a video for future generations, like the one you are presently watching, to be seen maybe 100, 200 years from now by relatives that will be able to go back. I thank you for watching this, and hopefully it will be worth